That shit is so sexy.
Freddy Greddy, once again, shout out. Thanks for the tunes.
Yeah, for those who don't know, we're kind of semi-sponsored. Freddy Greddy gives permission to use his music on our shows, on our website, so definitely hit him up.
I don't know if sponsor's the word, because he's not giving
like
us
money.
Us
or something, no,
but he let us use his music, which is pretty kick-ass. So, I mean,
it's some sweet
that's
stuff.
real cool. Yeah.
Go check out his website. His link is on our page.
He's pretty talented, that guy.
Oh yeah, he plays every single part himself. If you didn't know that, he plays like every
what
part
you
of the
just listened to, like the chorus part and everything. That's him and like doing 12 different parts.
12 different harmonies.
I'm a big fan.
Plays
so
an accordion.
Yeah, he's real cool.
So, part 2. Welcome to part 2, PvP School, episode uno.
He knows like a billion different instruments. Now that I think about it,
he does. He plays the accordion, like the flute,
the
like
guitar, piano,
bass, electric.
I can't everything but the drums. I think.
Yeah, I think he has someone else play.
But he does that like on pots and stuff, anyways.
Well, yeah, that song he did. He had like even water.
He had I think it was actually like a planter.
Yeah.
Like a terracotta planter. He was like drumming on for. No, that was just a bongo. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I think
it was a bongo. It was a bongo.
He uses like pots and bands. And
he does.
But for his like prog rock, he has a really sick ass drummer. Dude.
He does.
He writes the parts and then he has a drummer lay it down on his tracks.
Dude's nuts.
So, back to our philosophy for PvP. As we said before, the 3 principles are your mechanics, your knowledge, and strategy. We talked about mechanics.
Gonna talk about knowledge.
So what is knowledge? It sounds like
guns.
Knowledge.
I did that the other day in public, and someone was like, "I saw that," and I was like, "Yeah, you did. Kick ass guns. Let me just put them in the holsters. They won't hurt anybody."
Okay. Cool story, bro.
Oh. You said I got a cool story, and you called me bro.
I love that. He called me bro. He said my story was cool. So knowledge is your understanding of the game. There is a lot of stuff in this game. There are so many moves. Like every class,
even your own, it takes a little.
Every
bit
class
to really
has what, like
understand.
100 moves. Like it's ridiculous. Not just your moves, but then your buffs, your passive moves, your talents, your glyphs.
Of moves, yeah.
Not only is there a lot already, and there's 10 classes in the game, but every patch they keep changing it. It's impossible to keep up with everything going on at the same time.
Every expansion.
Oh yeah.
Rather.
Well, even patch, like they added a new move, like Ring of Peace was introduced last patch.
That was that was just in a patch.
And Cloak and Dagger, that's new from last patch as well.
They're changing things in patches. They do change stuff. It's true.
And we do have a show, by the way, The Gouge, where we talk about those kind of metagame changes in PvP.
Yeah, more in depth and stuff.
So, like every week, we'll talk about patch changes, new things, new trends in the scene. So go check that out for like updates on
what's popular,
strategies,
what's not popular,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, big time.
But since stuff changes so much, we'll just talk about kind of the umbrella, like the general mechanics
the big
of the
things.
game. Yeah.
Talk about the big things that
We're not
going to
get too specific because then the show will be outdated, and if it's outdated, then we'd have to keep repeating ourselves.
To go move by move would be ability by ability. It'd be kind of maddening.
So
there are a lot. So we're gonna hit the big ones for you, so you really understand.
To be a really good PvPer, you really have to understand everything. You have to understand what everyone's class is capable of doing, what moves they have, what their moves do.
Yeah,
that's something that takes a long time to really. You can't just like sit down and start reading every single move and know what they do. You kind of have to learn it through experience.
For example, I just picked up a Resto Shaman a couple months ago. I knew roughly that recklessness made warriors hurt me and kill me, but I didn't exactly know what it does. And then I found out that it gives basically warriors every ability that they have like 50% extra crit chance.
Yeah.
So they crit on like everything and they just own you. You know what I mean? So it's just I knew to get away, but that's something I learned by playing. But you should really find out exactly what it does.
Yeah. The point
it will
is,
really help you.
Like we said with mechanics, how you just start small, start slow, and then build up a little bit at a time. That's kind of what's going to happen with your understanding of the game. Like, first of all, know whatever class you're playing, know what moves you have at your disposal. And really know exactly what the moves do.
Yeah.
Know their cooldowns, know their durations, know their diminishing returns, because that affects the game
at least roughly.
quite a bit. Yeah.
At least roughly.
But just really get a good understanding. I mean, if you have to go read the tooltips on everything, do that.
Yeah, definitely. A big thing you want to avoid, and something that I actually he did when I just picked up WoW this last time was a lot of people were saying Frost Mage damage is God in like 5.1. And I would get rolled by a mage and I'd be like, he's just the mage. That's why I died. And that's something that you want to avoid. You want to find out exactly how that mage did that, because there is stuff behind it that you can do.
Yeah.
You know, like a deep freeze. That's a killer right there.
Yeah.
Their damage goes so high when you're deep frozen, and there are things that you need to know. Like, what was that? There was something that I didn't know what it was. I think it was Incanter's Ward.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? That's a big one. That's a big one. I had no idea that it even existed, but it completely contributes to how a mage does so much damage.
So I'll explain. I played a mage last patch. I'll explain exactly what he's talking about. Like, a lot of times you'll see mage all of a sudden just do an insane amount of damage. And given in 5.1, mages did have
they just did a lot of damage.
Was pretty OP. Yeah. But a lot of people would just say, oh, like he said, it's just a mage. I just died because it's a mage.
Yeah.
Because they do so much damage. Well, really, think about what is causing them to do that much damage.
Go in your combat log if you have to.
In Cantor's Ward, not a lot of people, everybody, the hot topic was Frost Bomb. Frost Bomb deals so much damage. Oh my god, if they're frozen during Frost Bomb, you're just going to die. When really, Frost Bomb did do a lot of damage, but if a mage had the buff from Incanter's Ward up, that's where their one-shots came from. And not a lot of people really understood that. Incanter's Ward is a level 90 talent for mages.
Yep.
It puts a bubble on yourself for 30 seconds that absorbs damage. And then once it absorbs the full amount of damage, I think it's like 10,000 or something, like 12,000 or something like that, you gain however much damage it absorbed back in spell power as a buff for like 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
You would get a lot of spell power, like 15,000 or something extra spell power. It would only last like I think it was 15 seconds maybe or something like that. But
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. But it's enough time to kill things.
Exactly. If a mage had Incanter's Ward up, got the bubble off, got his spell power buff, and then were to use something like a Frost Bomb, then the damage would go exponential and go crazy.
It would suck.
And I believe they made the Incanter's Ward buff dispellable.
Yeah.
So if you pay attention for it, not a lot of people realize that if you get that off, that's going to cut the damage as mage by like 30% or something like that.
It's big. Yeah.
So that's kind of an example of understanding your opponent. Not a lot of people knew that. If you go and do some research on it, go and Google like the mage moves, you can really get a better knowledge, a better understanding. That's going to make you a better player. Understanding.
Here's an example. I have a mage on me. I'm on my Resto Shaman. I see Incanter's Ward up. I purge. He deep freezes me. I have my trinket up with my mechanics being solid. I can quickly trinket out of it.
Yeah.
Cuts his damage in like half. That's 50% damage that I don't need to heal.
Exactly. One thing I want to talk about is, so to gain a better knowledge of the game, you're not just going to go look up every single class's move, every single talent, every single thing, because there's way too many of them to do that. Do it a little bit at a time. If you see a DK using an ability and you don't know what it is, go look it up. Google it. Figure out what it is, and then you're going to remember next time because you took the effort to go look it up. You're going to know, like, what's that big green bubble he has on him? What's that doing? I don't know, understand. You see that it's anti-magic.
Why can't I kill him? I'm a mage. I'm an OP Frost mage.
I know.
Why can't I kill him when he has that thing?
Like, hover over it, you'll see that it's AMS, anti-magic shield. Yeah. Go Google it. Look exactly what it does. Figure out its cooldown. Figure out how often you can use it, if it has diminishing returns. Figure out exactly what the mechanic is. So then next time you'll know how to deal with it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's an example. Even if you think you know what a move does, it's a good idea just to go look it up. We were just talking about Incanter's Ward. Like, I just kind of said, oh, you absorb some damage, you get some extra damage. I don't know the exact numbers. It's kind of important to know the exact numbers. So, for example, go Google it. Here, Incanter's Ward. It's a 25-second cooldown. It places a magical ward on you, absorbing spell power damage for 8 seconds. And then the absorbed damage will restore up to 18% of your maximum mana. And then when the effect ends, you gain up to 30% increased spell power for 15 seconds. So now you know exactly what it does, how it works, and what to look for. If you can dispel this bubble before it pops and before it goes off, you can prevent, the 30% increased spell power for 15 seconds. That's a huge buff. Like, just right there, that's even more powerful than I think a trinket would be. It's like a really big damage increase that not a lot of people really take into
Trinket's pretty
account.
big.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's even you're looking at it, 25-second cooldown.
Yeah.
It's very frequent. They can definitely use that a lot. So
here's an example: anti-magic shell. So just Google it, go look it up on Wowhead, on Wow MDB. Come on, great.
Oh, that's all right.
Internet
fail. That's all right. Things happen, but you know, while it's getting pulled up, it's basically.
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna
same principle.
Here we go. Surround the Death Knight. 45-second cooldown. Surround the Death Knight with an anti-magic shell, absorbing 75% of damage dealt by harmful spells, up to 50% of their health, and preventing the application of harmful magic effects.
Yeah.
Damage absorbed generates runic power. That's 5 seconds. So that's something I didn't know. I didn't know that if you damage into an AMS, it's going to give him runic power.
Yeah.
Not only is it going to reduce your damage, which I knew it did already.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it's actually important not to even hit him during that time, because you're going to just benefit him by giving him more and more runic power.
Some people do. See, some people burn through it anyways.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to kill, and he's playing defensive, you can just burn through it and kill him. If you have high damage right there and you CC'd the healer. Absolutely, go ahead and try and burn him down. But
another example,
it's just kind of,
for instance, like AMS doesn't really affect melee or damage,
right? Because
it's only for spell damage. But one thing,
like a rogue, you could shadow dance on him. If he pops AMS,
exactly,
it's not gonna do anything.
But then on the other hand, a rogue, if he's using shadow blades, which for instance I have shadow blades in my dance macro, that changes the rogue's damage into shadow damage.
Yep.
Which anti-magic shell would reduce that. So those are the kind of things you have to look out for, and that goes into your understanding of the game. Like if you didn't know that your damage was shadow when you're using shadow blades, if you didn't read the tooltip and you didn't know what AMS was, you could not understand why you didn't kill that DK when you should have been raping him with your burst macro.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. It's just important to understand what things
exactly.
are.
So it would take us a year to go through every single spell and every single ability for every single class and explain it to you. So obviously we're not going to do that, but what you need to do is always understand what's going on in the game around you. Understand what abilities people are using, your teammates are using, your enemies are using. Understand what they do. Understand their cooldowns. That way if a rogue is shadow dancing, he can't do that for another minute because it's a minute-long cooldown. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Basically, just build up your knowledge and understanding of the game.
It's all right. We can clip
it out.
Bill?
Okay. What's going on?
Haptic's brother just came home.
We're doing our show.
We're filming our show
right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We can just
say hi to the people.
I'm borrowing your chair for a little more.
Oh, that's fine.
We'll be done soon.
I won't be good in that bit.
Okay.
Another thing that goes into your knowledge, besides just class mechanics, is situational awareness. I was kind of getting at that a second ago. Understanding what's going on around you, what your enemies are using. Keep an eye on their cooldowns. Like if you know how long their offensive cooldown or defensive cooldown is, you know that you have a window to get a kill.
Absolutely.
Or a window of CC.
What's a 2-minute cooldown, 3-minute cooldown? What's a 1-minute cooldown? It all helps to know. You get a basic feel for it.
There are add-ons that do watch things like cooldowns like that for you.
Yeah.
I'd recommend using those when you're starting out.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, it's going to be better if you just have an inherent knowledge of that rather than relying on a third party to tell you.
Yeah.
But it can definitely help you out when you're learning the game, when you're learning the abilities. Being able to know it, see it right on the screen.
How often a mage can block.
Yeah.
We talked about that in previous videos. Once they do it, they can't do it for 30 seconds. A pally can only bubble once every 5 minutes. So once he bubbles, you have a long time to get a kill off. Obviously, you want to make it happen as quickly as possible, but you know that you have 5 minutes. Hunters can deterrence very often. It's a minute cooldown.
Yeah, and they can reset it, right?
Yep, they can reset it once. So it happens frequently. And, you want to even we looked at AMS 45 seconds. If you have a caster team in arena, you're running spell cleave with like a mage and a warlock. That's pretty frequent. You know?
For sure. So
And that's pretty much it for as far as what we're really trying to say. You just really should understand what different abilities do to the fullest, and really have a nice grasp on that. And then that's
something you're going to build
step.
up over time. Like, it's not going to happen right away. But one way to do it, to learn well, is always know why you die. If you die in a BG, if you die in an RBG or an arena...
Don't be like me and be like, it's because he was a mage.
Exactly, that's an important thing. If it's just because it's a mage, he does a lot of damage. Well, no, not necessarily. Yeah. There are things you can do to prevent that damage beforehand.
Absolutely.
Know how a class is going to put out that kind of damage, and you can kind of understand how to prevent it. Like, for instance, the move Frost Bomb is a big one for mages, like we said before. It does a lot of damage if they're frozen while it goes off. Healers can dispel it before it goes off. While a Frost Bomb is ticking, it's not doing anything. It's going to be ticking for like 4 seconds, I think.
Yep.
I think it's increased by their haste, but a lot of Frost mages don't really run a lot of haste. So if you're able to dispel that before it goes off, then you're going to stop a lot of the mage's damage.
Yeah.
It's really important.
It's awesome. It really is.
Look in your combat log. If you died and you're like, holy crap, I just got one shot, I just got global. Like, I went from like 200k to nothing. Go in your combat log, click what happened to me, and look at exactly what happened to you.
It gives you a breakdown, yeah.
See, like, oh crap, you know.
What was doing the damage.
Exactly.
Especially if you're in a battleground and you have like 3 people on you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're probably going to die quick anyways if you have 3 people on you. But
it still helps knowing what exactly killed you. Knowing, I took a humongous Chaos Bolt to the face. Next time, I'm going to look out to interrupt that Chaos Bolt.
It happens too often, man.
See them. My God, Chaos Bolts are ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when both of us play on teams in the arena, and we play on the same team very often, pretty much all the time, and it's a big thing. If a Warlock is casting a Chaos Bolt, you have to stop it or find a way to line of sight it, because it's like 100k plus damage. It's nuts. That's a lot of damage to take all at once, especially, you know, sometimes Warlocks are lining up 2 or 3, and it's like you're in a fear, and then 2 Chaos Bolts are on the way, while the rogue that's with him is shadow dancing you, and you're screwed. That's almost unhealable damage, and I mean, it can be if they're geared enough. I mean, if everyone has current gear, you're pretty even. That person's probably dying.
The bottom line is, you can't come to expect to be a really good player, a really pro at arenas, if you don't truly know what the abilities are doing, understanding what the mechanics are. You can think, you know, oh, Shadow Dance, that just means he's dealing extra damage. Not necessarily. Go look it up. Even if you think you know what a move does. For instance, I thought I knew Incanter's Ward, like, Anti-Magic Shell. Even I, like, still didn't know every single aspect of it. So know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You'll build up your knowledge of the game. You'll understand much better. You'll be able to react to what people are doing.
Definitely.
That's basically what we mean by knowledge as being an important aspect of PvP.
Yeah, if you need help tracking those big cooldowns, once you find out what they are, we mentioned a couple helpful add-ons in our add-on video, Gladiator LOSSA. We mentioned it, how to get it, Curse Client. Check out the add-ons video, it's great.
Interrupt Bar is one that watches, it's a bar.
Interrupt Bar or Juked. If you're a healer or a caster, even, it's helpful. Basically, say I'm in an arena and there's a DK. He uses his interrupt. A little timer pops up in the bottom of my screen, or wherever I put the add-on. You can move it all around your screen if you want on the top side, whatever. It's a straight bar. It counts down from 15. It has a little DK symbol for his interrupt, and I know exactly how long it is, so I can cast in his face, and there's nothing he can do about it. You know, if he has, you know, he uses a 6-8 or stuff like that, or yeah. I mean, if you have like 2 people on you and you're getting trained, it's a good thing to have, because you know when you can cast. You don't need to guess. You don't need to worry about juking, but Juked is a good one.
Yeah.
Interrupt Bar. They're made by the same people. They're essentially the same thing. I've heard Juked is better, but
I've never even used Juked. I don't even know.
I also hear that they're the exact same thing. So
cool.
I mean,
all right. Well, we're gonna go to another short break. Listen to some more Ferretti Gritty, and when we come back, we're gonna wrap it up talking about strategy.
Wrapping it up.
Sweet. Looking good.
Up your game.
Up your game.
Up your game. Dude, up your game.
This one is really sexy. We're going to listen to some Jazz of Storms.